Game 3 of the National League Championship Series, and it will be some scene down there in Atlanta, Fulton County Stadium. Tomahawks are out. You know, they used to call those Traumahawks. That's how bad this team used to be. But now it is Tomahawk City, and they have baseball fever in Atlanta, and what a great time of year for that part of the South. And hi again, everybody. I'm Pat O'Brien, and with me here in our New York studios is manager Tom Lasorda from Los Angeles Dodgers. And Tommy, welcome. How big is Game 3?
Well, Pat, psychologically, it's a pivotal game for both ball clubs. The Pirates want to win the first game because of the fact that they know that if they win that ball game, they'll take the series back to Pittsburgh. And Atlanta, coming off of a split, which was a tremendous accomplishment, scoring 2 runs and coming off with a split, they did a great job. Now they want to win this one in front of their hometown folks. It's a big ball game for both clubs.
Ted Turner and Jane Fonda, his fiancée, right there, and perhaps the most excitement in Pittsburgh, Tommy, this week has been the drama off the field, really, involving Manager Jim Leyland's immediate family. Yesterday afternoon, Katie Leyland delivered a 7-pound, 2-ounce baby boy. There he is, Patrick James Leyland. The proud papa, well, he hopped on a plane in Pittsburgh this morning and arrived in Atlanta, where a short while ago, there he is, we had a chance to congratulate the exhausted but relieved Pirate skipper and his wife. Here's how that went. Well, here's the happy family here. Thanks for joining us, to all of you. I see we're putting a Pirates hat already on that baby. Katie, first of all, how do you feel? How's everything?
I feel great. Everything's going real well.
Jim, what about the timing of this thing?
It's a great baseball life, isn't it? When you have on the day off, pretty good timing.
I understand the baby came out screaming. What does that tell us, Jim?
Well, everybody wanted to know shortstop, catcher, pitcher, but came out yelling, so probably a manager.
Katie, we know how special this baby is. All babies are special, but this particular one seems to be very special for the Leyland family.
We could not be happier. We're thrilled to death.
I like the name, Jim. It's a very strong name, Patrick James.
Well, it's a beautiful name, and like I said, the one thing that Katie and I want to say, Pat, is the fact that there's a lot of people that had babies yesterday, and certainly we want to send our congratulations to them. You know, ours is special to us just like everybody else is special to them, and ours is no more special than anybody else's, and we want to make sure we let the world know that. So there were a lot of happy fathers and mothers all over this country yesterday, and Katie and I want to send our congratulations to them.
Well, that's a very nice thought. This will probably be on the baby's videotape somewhere. Jim, what would you say to your son today?
Well, I would say pull us through this one, son, and hope that your dad does a good job today, and then hope that the players perform well, and take care of Mom until I get home.
Hey, Katie, that mom's got a nice ring to it, doesn't it?
Oh, I like that. That has a beautiful sound.
All right, congratulations to both of you. Have a wonderful life, and good luck down the road, okay?
Thanks. We'll take good care of them.
I love you, kitten.
Love you, too.
God, it's nice with all the things going on right now. That's nice to see that. What do you think?
That's great what he said about other babies. And the baby looks great. And congratulations, Jim. And thank God the baby looks like the mother.
Tom and I will be here all day long. Right now, let's send you out to Atlanta, Fulton County Stadium. What a great day this is going to be. And let's go right out to Atlanta, the city of Atlanta, and Jack Buck and Tim McCarver. Good day, Jack.
And good day to you, Pat O'Brien. We're looking at downtown Atlanta, the capital of Georgia. It's a lovely October afternoon. And there is Fulton County Stadium. And there go the Braves to the field, much to the delight of this big crowd here in what they call the Chop Shop. The Pittsburgh Pirate fans gave them wonderful support in the first 2 games. And these 2 teams split in the first 2 games of this series. Tim, those Pirate fans were very supportive, but this is going to take it to another level down here.
Yeah, I think you're right. You mentioned the Chop Shop. It's been a shop of horrors for the Pirates this year. They haven't won a game here in Fulton County Stadium, and if that continues, the Braves would win it after 5 games. I'll tell you, the frustrating thing about it for the Pittsburgh Pirates has been the play of Barry Bonds. The other night, I think, epitomized his play in the 7th inning, nobody out, and Bobby Bonilla on at first base, a double play ball turned nicely by the Braves. And then in the 9th inning, Bobby Bonilla, a leadoff double, and Barry Bonds, you can see the frustration in his face as he pops to short, and not only the frustration in his face, In his hands, too.
Yes, sir. There's John Smoltz, 14-13 for the year, 12-2 after the All-Star break. He really got on a roll. Here's the starting lineup for the Pittsburgh Pirates. And with a right-hander pitching, Orlando Merced plays first base. Jay Bell is at short. Andy Van Slyke in center. Bobby Bonilla playing right. And Barry Bonds is in left field. Steve Buechele is at third base. Mike LaValliere makes his first start and first appearance. He's behind the plate. Jose Lind is the second baseman. And 20-game winner John Smiley will be on the mound for Pittsburgh.
Defensively for Atlanta, Lonnie Smith in left field. Ron Gant will be the center fielder. David Justice will be in right field. Terry Pendleton, the third baseman. Rafael Belliard at shortstop. Mark Lemke, the second baseman, with a game-winning hit the other night. Brian Hunter will be at first, and Greg Olson behind the plate.
The other member of our telecasting crew here is Andrea Joyce, and let's hear from her.
All right, Jack, thanks. Of course, John Smoltz has had a dramatic second-half turnaround, and one man at least partially responsible for that is sports psychologist Jack Llewellyn. Llewellyn has been meeting with Smoltz since July. They get together before each start. They met today, and Llewellyn told me that John Smoltz is thriving on this stress. He's not up here. He's not down here. He's right in the middle, and according to the doctor, that's good because it means he's in control of his emotions. We'll see. Let's go upstairs now to Jack and Tim.
Thank you, Andrea. And Smoltz was 2-1 against Pittsburgh this year. And he is 4-2 lifetime against the Pirates. And Orlando Merced makes his first appearance in this league championship series. He's the switch hitter at bat from the left side to get it started. Drills it into the gap in right center. Way back, and it might go. What a start for the Pirates. On a home run by Orlando Merced. He's going to have to go back to the psychologist, Tim.
John Smoltz trying to get ahead of Merced, and Merced saying to Greg Olson, I'll take this one. Welcome to the launching pad. One pitch, one home run. That's what this stadium is known as, the launching pad. And true to its form, Merced on the first pitch hits a homer.
And it brings up Jay Bell, and ball one to him from the Atlanta right-hander. What an enjoyable trip for Orlando Merced around the bases with a fist in the air. And a foul back and a big swing by Jay Bell, who is 2 out of 7 thus far in this series. So the Braves have spotted the Pirates a run. It'll be Bell, Van Slyke, and Bonilla here in the first. Did he go around? He did. Both the plate umpire and the first base umpire concur. That's Eric Gregg at first base. Dana DeMuth is behind the plate. And the count is 1 ball, 2 strikes. Greg Olson behind the dish for Atlanta. And a foul. Here are the umpires for this afternoon's game. Dana DeMuth working his first series behind the dish. Eric Gregg at first. Bob Davidson at second. Bruce Fremming is at third base. Doug Harvey the left field foul line, and Frank Pulley out in the right field corner. Nobody on or out, and a run is home for the Pirates, and that ball is going to drop in. There's another hit for Pittsburgh. A home run and a single, and Smoltz has been rudely greeted here at home.
The worst thing that could happen to the Atlanta Braves is to have their fans taken out of the game so early. Merced with a leadoff home run on the first hit, and now Jay Bell with a little clunker to right field. I think it would be tough to take these fans out of a game, however.
Yeah, they'll get with it. They'll get with it when the Braves come to bat. Meanwhile, John Smoltz is trying to get with it, pitching to Andy Van Slyke. He has a home run in this series, and 2 out of 8 in the first 2 games. Ball 1. Smoltz was ahead on the count to Bell, but lost it. Up high to Andy, and that's ball 2.
You've heard of comeback players of the years and their awards. Well, how about the comeback player of the season award? John Smoltz, the first half of the year was 2-11. And the second half since the All-Star break, 12-2. He's lost only one game since August the 1st and into the season 14-13.
Ended up with a rather high earned run average. He hadn't allowed a home run in the last 96+ innings. Orlando Merced changed that in a hurry. Now Bell at first and nobody out, and a pop-up foul. No, it's fair, and there is a play. First baseman chases him away, and Hunter makes the catch. 1 on, 1 out.
John's earned run average since August the 1st, 8-1, and there it is, the first half. Look at the earned run average. He's 2-11, a 5.16 earned run average, more than 5 runs per 9 innings. And in the second half, a little over 2.5 per 9 innings, and 12-2.
Now it's Bobby Bonilla, 1 on, 1 out. Bonilla has had 4 hits, the most of any Pirate in the first 2 games. He hits this one to very deep center. Gant is going at the track to catch it. 2 out. And the runner back to first. Bonilla darn near did it, didn't he?
That's the difference in hitting a ball to left center as opposed to right center. When you hit it the other way, you use your arms. When you pull the ball, you use your body. And Bonilla got his arms into this one, and it shows you how big his arms are. He almost hit it out.
Darn near. Gant could have gone about another step. That's the second out here in the first. And Bell still at first for Barry Bonds. Bonds 1 out of 6 and a couple of walks. As Tim mentioned, he has a whole load of frustration going for him right now. Ball 1.
In 8 National League Championship Series games, that's not the season average, 292, but 1 for 6, as Jack said. But Bonds without an extra base hit in 8 games over 2 years, 4 for 24.
And he chased a bad ball to even the count, 1-1.
It is so difficult in the League Championship Series to perform like you did during the season. You're so out of character, and you're much more nervous than you were during the season. I know it sounds trite, but nerve-wracking on the field.
That pitch just missed. 2 balls and a strike. Yeah, Bobby Cox concurred with you today. He said, you've been there, Tim. There's nothing that compares with it.
Nothing. The World Series is a cakewalk compared to the League Championship Series.
Bell at first, 2 out in the first. Bobby Bonds didn't get it all, and it'll be caught by the right fielder, Justice. The Pirates score 1. They lead 1, but what a start they have for John Smiley, their 20-game winner, who is going to the mound. Here's what happened on the very first pitch of the game.
For the Braves, John Smoltz going into the dugout. The assistant trainer, we think that is Jeff Porter, the assistant trainer, reaching inside John Smoltz's shirt. And Smoltz appears to have some minor shoulder problems. We'll try to get that for you.
But there's no one warming up in the bullpen. Here's John Smiley, a 20-game winner, and here's the lineup. Lonnie Smith in left, Terry Pendleton at third, Ron Gant in center field, David Justice hitting fourth, and playing right. Brian Hunter is at first base. Greg Olson is again behind the dish for the Atlanta club. And Mark Lemke at second base. Rafael Belliard at shortstop. And you just saw John Smoltz give up a run in the first. Ball 1 to Lonnie Smith. John Smiley. Smiley won his last 7 games on his way to a 20-victory season. One of those wins was in relief. That's out of play, and it evens the count to Smith, who is 0 for 8. And the Braves miss Otis Nixon to this point. Nixon suspended because he failed a drug test, and Atlanta went on to win the division despite his absence, but they better get something out of Lonnie Smith. Out of play, strike 2 from Smiley.
And to repeat something told to us by Jim Leland in games 1 and 2. That the Pirate pitchers very concerned with keeping Lonnie Smith off the bases.
Here's Smith, Pendleton, and Gant.
There's a new Papa right there.
Can't keep the smile off his face. At least he couldn't before game time. And up high. 2 balls, 2 strikes. I'm wondering why we emphasize the new baby in the Leland family. Why Jim Leland didn't get married until late in life, and this is their first child, so they're tickled. And they get Milani Smith down swinging, and he's 0 for 9. Leland took the day off yesterday and arrived here this morning. So Smiley heaves a deep sigh. And a pitch to another fellow who's trying to get it untracked. Terry Pendleton, who is 0 for 7 in this series. Led the league in hitting at .319. Had 22 home runs during the season, and 13 of them here in this park. Pendleton showed the bunt and took a ball.
John Smiley, 6'4", 200 pounds, and he wasn't always like that. He signed with the Pirates in 1983. He's only 26 years old. He was 160 pounds when he signed.
They're going to get Pendleton on this one. And the second baseman makes the call and the play, a foul ball as it was caught by Lind. 2 out.
Jose Lind with a better angle calls off first baseman Orlando Merced and makes an easy play out of that. A much better angle for a second baseman on a play like that.
Merced, by the way, still hampered a little bit with a bad ankle. But that didn't affect him trotting around the bases, did it?
He hurt that foot. Oh, no, it doesn't at all when you have to lope around the bases as opposed to run. He hurt that foot in a doubleheader the last 2 weeks of the season. They were playing the Mets and hurt it going back into second base.
First pitch off speed to Ganton, strike 1. This is what the Braves have done with their 1-2-3 hitters. They're 1 for 22. Smith, Pendleton, and Gant. Atlanta is rather lucky. They've scored only 2 runs, and they're even in the series, a game apiece. To the right, opposite field, and over the head of Bonilla. A 2-out double.
You talk about an unusual hit right there. You may have followed in game 1 where we said Ron Gant was a dead pull hitter. Awfully strong, but coming this season, all of the balls that he hit to the outfield, he had 100 hits to left and only 9 to right. And here it is, the first time back in Atlanta, Fulton County Stadium, and he rifles one to right field, only his 10th hit of the year to right.
I guess that's his approach to the off-speed pitch of Smiley.
Maybe.
Here's David Justice. He's 2 out of 7 with a home run in these playoffs. And Gant got the crowd back into the game. Ball 1 from the Pirate left-hander. Temperature 76 degrees here in Atlanta. Just perfect. Not quite that good. Near the 50 mark in Pittsburgh this afternoon. 1 ball, 1 strike, and you know where they're playing this hitter, Justice. Has 21 home runs. Let's tune in the crowd. Tying run at second, 2 out, first inning. 2 balls and a strike to the batter.
Justice batted cleanup 91 times this year. And the Atlanta Braves with remarkable production out of that cleanup spot. They had 133 RBIs out of the 4-hole this year. Only one team did it better. Detroit had 134 RBIs with Cecil Fielder 133, of course.
Good pitch from Smiley, evens the count 2-2.
A lot of left-handers won't throw a straight change to left-handed batters. The reason, it's in that vulnerable down and in area. But that was a straight change and a good one from Smiley. The circle change.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Tying run at second, 2 out. Pirates leading first inning. 1-0. 3-2. Another changeup, Tim, wasn't it?
Another change that was down. The circle change thrown by Smiley. They used to call it a quarter change. You hold your index finger and your thumb together, and you throw the pitch with your last 3 fingers. The deception is in the arm movement. Hitters have a tendency to swing at that arm movement, and a tall, gangly guy like John Smiley. That's another reason why he's so successful with that pitch.
On 3-2, a foul. By the way, you've seen Jay Bell jockeying in behind Ron Gant. These Pirates feel that Gant is a little careless when he runs the bases. They almost picked him off the other night. There's Ted Turner, the head man of the Atlanta Braves, with Jane Fonda. Enjoying this October afternoon, and former President Jimmy Carter with his wife Rosalind to his right. First of 3, if necessary, will play here in Georgia. That's fair. That's going to tie the game. A double for Justice.
Welcomes back the crowd, doesn't it? Certainly gets the crowd right back in this thing as Justice banks one down the third base line, fielded by Bonds, and back-to-back doubles have tied the score here in the first.
Barry couldn't make that play close, but he demonstrated there again how good he is in left field. Back-to-back doubles with 2 out brings up Brian Hunter. Hunter had a dozen home runs this year. Did a very good job filling in at first base. Ended up platooning with Sid Green. I guess they're going to sing all afternoon here.
Got that right. All weekend. It goes into Monday. 8:30 game Eastern time tomorrow night, and then 3 o'clock on Monday.
Justice at second, 2 out. And a breaking ball strike. 2-1. Everything is an Indian motif down here in Atlanta.
Atlanta winning their first playoff game ever on Thursday night behind the strong left arm of Steve Avery.
Brian Hunter pumps it foul out of play. 2-2. Home run by Orlando Merced, and with 2 out here, Gant doubled. So did Justice. And it's still 2-2 on the back. They leaned at second base.
We mentioned it the other night. Infielders are reminded with a runner at second and 2 outs to try to knock the ball down if you can't make the play, and Mark Lemke did that the other night. It could have been a game-saving play in the 8th inning.
That really paid off. And now Atlanta takes the lead. And this is going to be another 2-base hit. They're tough in this ballpark.
Another changeup from John Smiley, and this one just scorched down the left field line, about a foot fair. The third consecutive double for the Braves, all happening with 2 out and nobody on.
And that causes the Pittsburgh manager to go to the mound to talk it over with John Smiley, who got the first 2 handily here in the opening inning.
Brian Hunter, very impressive for a young hitter. He is a rookie. He started 64 games at first base. But one of the reasons he's so impressive is the way he waits on off-speed pitches. That was a changeup. He waited. The ball tailed a little bit or sailed a little bit inside, and Hunter did the rest.
Now attempting to keep it going is Greg Olson, the catcher. He's 2 out of 8 in this series, and John Smiley gets ahead on the count. 3 doubles in an inning ties the league championship series record. It's been done 6 other times. I tell you, these Braves are tougher in this park. Pittsburgh knows that they lost 6 times. 0-6 this year at Fulton County Stadium. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Most first inning runs. The first inning, as a matter of fact, is the most, as far as run scoring is concerned, is the inning in which the most runs are scored throughout the big league.
Olson hits a foul ball. He's in the hole 1 and 2.
But Smiley has been very good in the first inning. Matter of fact, an earned run average under 2 in the first inning this year. Only Wally Whitehurst of the New York Mets has been better in the first inning.
A pretty picture down here in Atlanta. Great weather. And we've already had plenty of action. 2-1 Atlanta in the first. Olson chased a high pitch and keeps the count 1 and 2. Leland hoping to get out of this first. He's contracted for an additional 2 years as the boss of Pittsburgh. 2 and 2.
And if he weren't, he would have had 11 job offers this morning. There have been 12 managers fired this year. One has been rehired. One team has rehired a manager, Jeff Torborg, with the Mets yesterday. Leland, top to bottom, one of the best around.
Olson hits it into deep left field. Might go. Home run.
Watch how you shake hands in that dugout. You can get injured just shaking hands with these guys. Looked like another changeup. Not a bad pitch as far as the location was concerned. Greg Olson with only 6 home runs during the season puts Atlanta up 4-1. Wow.
Now Lemke takes a strike, and what a tough first inning for John Smiley. He got the first 2. Double by Gann, double by Justice, 2 base hit by Hunter, 2-run home run Olson, and he's finally out of the inning. Lean fights the sun, makes the catch. 4 runs on 4 hits and nobody left. After 1 inning, the Braves lead the Pirates. It's 4-1. We had an explosive first inning, and Atlanta leads 4-1 after 1. We go downstairs near the Atlanta dressing room and visit with Andrea Joyce.
All right, Jack, in that last inning, we saw the trainers talking to John Smoltz about his right shoulder. Apparently, he was feeling some stiffness. They put some balm on it, and he put on a long-sleeve sweatshirt, and they say he's okay. Let's go back to you guys.
That's what we saw in the bottom of the first after Smoltz gave up the home run to Merced, where the trainer is working on him. The trainers are Dave Persley and Jeff Porter. Now we go into the second inning, and we can promise you even more action from this ballpark because it never ceases down here in this Atlanta stadium. First up, Steve Buechele. He is 1 for 6. And a close-up look at John Smoltz, who is from Lansing, Michigan. Out of play, strike 1.
We mentioned Smiley only 26 years old. John Smoltz only 23 years old. He signed originally with the Detroit Tigers back in the middle 80s. Traded to the Braves in '87 for Doyle Alexander.
These Breaking ball brings about a foul ball, strike 2.
It's funny about the Braves. They obviously had somebody down in the minor leagues looking at Smoltz. I mean, he had an undistinguished 11 and 18 career in the minor leagues. But he has been phenomenal since coming over to the Braves. What a makeup for a young man.
To the screen, and it stays 0-2. It'll be Buechele, LeVallier, and Lean here in the Pirates' second. Right at the center fielder, Gant. The city of Atlanta, Tim, is starving for a winner. It's been a while.
Well, back in 1966, the Braves moved to Atlanta from Milwaukee, and that's 25 years ago. The Falcons 25 years ago as an expansion team. The St. Louis Hawks moved to Atlanta in 1968, 23 years ago, and then the Atlanta Flames played here for 8 years, from 1972 to 1980. Now the Flames in Calgary. So how many championships have those 4 professional franchises had in 81 seasons? None.
That's a bad record.
0 for 81.
Mike LeVallier took a strike, now a ball. This is his first at-bat in this championship series.
Just a little inside to Spanky, known as affectionately. Call somebody Spanky, it's got to be affectionate.
Oh, yeah. He batted .289 this year, had a good year with the bat. Our statistician, Steve Hurt, tells us not only didn't they win any championships down here in Atlanta with all those sports teams, they had no trips to the finals. Gant will chase that one down. 2 out. In the third quarter, Notre Dame ahead of Pittsburgh as we look at some college scores and a tight one, Rice and Baylor. That would be an upset if Rice can pull it off. And Georgia winning. And the Braves winning here in the second inning, 4-1. Lean 1 for 6 thus far in playoff competition. Shadows are starting to creep across this field. You can see them. 1 ball, 1 strike. And Jim Leland said one of the reasons he wanted to pitch Smiley today was because of these shadows, but he's behind 4-1. 1-2. And that's the kind of swing you take when you can't see the ball, Tim. Final score: Miami beat Penn State by 6. The first strikeout for Smoltz, who retired 6 in a row. And after an inning and a half, the Braves are on top, 4-1. It is 4-1 Atlanta going into the bottom of the second. Tim, I was down here for the '82 championship series between the Cardinals and Atlanta. It was nothing like this with regard to the crowd.
No, that was the year that the Atlanta Braves got out of the chute, winning their first 13 in a row. And they didn't have the fan support like they have now. As a matter of fact, never in this franchise's history in Atlanta have they had the fan support that they've had this year.
This is unique. Here's Belliard, the number 8 hitter. Ball 1 from John Smiley. Smiley gave up 4 runs, 4 hits, all extra base hits, capped off by a Greg Olson homer. Out of play and 1-1. Be Belliard to lead it off, and then Smiley. That is caught by the second baseman, Lean.
In case you missed it last night, in the 10th inning off Mike Timlin of the Blue Jays, Mike Pagliarulo, a solo home run, and the Twins win it 2-1 and take a 2-1 lead over the Toronto Blue Jays. In the 5th inning of that game, Joe Carter injuring his right ankle, and we don't know yet whether he is going to start in tonight's game or not.
You can see that right ankle bend as it hit the tarp out there, and 8 o'clock tonight is the time for the pregame show. By swing and a miss by Smoltz. Then Dick Stockton and Jim Kopp will bring you the action from Skydome up in Toronto. Smiley ahead on the count.
Said that game was 2-1 last night. It was 3-2. Game 3 of the American League Championship Series with Minnesota up 3-2. Mike Pagliarulo, the 4th player to hit a pinch hit home run in postseason play. That's postseason. That includes the World Series. That's a pinch hit extra inning home run.
Smoltz becomes the second strikeout victim for Smiley.
Who else did it? Who else was a pinch hitter who hit an extra inning home run? John Bukovic did it for the Phillies. That was in the strike season in 1981. John Lowenstein for Baltimore in '79. And Dusty Rhodes against the Cleveland Indians back in 1954 as the Giants swept Cleveland that year after Cleveland won 111 games during the regular season.
I wonder if Cleveland's going to be able to go from last to first next year. It happened a couple of times in the major leagues this year. Lonnie Smith with 2 out. Banned his first time, and he is 0 for 8. Lonnie has played in the World Series with 3 different teams and hopes to make that number 4 out of play. Strike 2. He can't buy a hit. He's 0 for 2. And he seldom gets walks because he's a free swinger anyhow. Smiley has settled down, but this is what he did in the first inning. He got the first 2 and double, Justice double, Hunter double, and Olson homer. Frequently hit by pitchers as he was just then.
Well, he was hit 9 times during the regular season. And he gets hit by a Smiley fastball. It looks like the left arm, left wrist.
Doesn't bother him, does it?
He's tough as nails.
Rough and tough and hard to bluff. You can't keep him off the plate. And he runs the bases with 2 out, and he is a threat to run. He has stolen 9 times. Pendleton is up. He's trying for his first hit in the series. Fouled out to second base in the first inning. Ball 1 misses. National League batting champion Terry Pendleton, 319, comeback of the century. Amazing turnaround. And he may end up being the MVP. 2 balls, no strikes.
Both teams that went from worst to first, the Atlanta Braves and the Minnesota Twins, did it with very, very intelligent administrative work. They signed free agents. From last place to first place, the 1889 Louisville team of the American Association, when it was a major league team, and Minnesota and Atlanta this year. And this year, Minnesota and Atlanta did it because they signed the right guys during the offseason.
Ron Schuerholz, new general manager of the Atlanta Braves. And one of the people he signed as a free agent was the batter, Terry Pendleton. Smith at first, 2 out. They've got him. Good throw by Minnesota is needed, but there's a throwing error, and Smith ends up at third with 2 out. Stolen base and an error.
So it'll be a stolen base for Lonnie Smith and an error on Orlando Merced. A right-handed throwing first baseman has to come out toward the pitcher to get in a good position to throw to second. You see Merced coming out, but the ball got hung up in his glove. He didn't have a good grip on it. It almost hit second base umpire Bob Davidson. And a stolen base for Lonnie Smith and an error on Merced.
And the count 2-0 to Pendleton. There is Merced. He has hit a home run and made an error. Pendleton makes it 5-1. He's going to get a 2-out double. I don't think there'll be an error on the play.
Well, the Braves are double trouble in this ballpark, and today they are literally double trouble. 5 hits in the game, 4 have been doubles as Van Slyke trying to get to that ball. The ball eluding him, and I think Pendleton would have made it to second. Anyway, Jack, I agree with you.
We'll wait for the rolling to see if they make it a 2-base hit or a single and an error. Now they have charged Pittsburgh with an error or something. Now the batter is Gant. He doubled and scored his first time. So that'll be a single, a run batted in, and an error on Van Slyke. Tough error.
Yeah, there's no way, in my opinion, that that ball is an error. I mean, Van Slyke, had he caught the ball, stopped and thrown to second, Pendleton makes it anyway, in my view.
I agree. Gant pops it up. Should be the 3rd out. Bell fights the sun. And now he makes the catch. That was tough. But one more run. 1 run on 1 hit, 1 error, and 1 left.
By Orlando Merced, that set up the only run in the second inning. And as you can see, that's the only error committed in this ball game, as the Van Slyke play in center field was ruled a double, and that is the 4th double of the game. Here it is right here. Yeah, we thought that there was no way that that could have been a single and an error, and it was ruled a double, the 4th double of the ball game.
Cecil Espy is going to pinch hit for John Smiley, who had an early exit from this game. He pitched 2 innings and allowed 5 runs on 5 hits. And Bill Landrum is down in the bullpen. Smiley struck out 2, walked none, hit 1. And the hit batsman cost him a run. Cecil Espy. He was a good mid-season acquisition by Pittsburgh, batted .244.
Second time with Pittsburgh. He initially came over in the Bill Madlock trade along with Sid Bream and R.J. Reynolds back in '85.
He's facing John Smoltz, and he pops it foul and out of play for strike 2. Smoltz has retired 6 in a row after giving up a home run and a single in the first.
Jack, we talked about Smoltz signing originally with Detroit. He was the 22nd round draft choice in 1985. That means that 572 players were signed before John Smoltz signed his contract, or were drafted before he signed.
And he gets Espy. Second strikeout for the Atlanta Hurler. He spans 7 in a row, and he gets a lot of strikeouts up high, doesn't he, Tim?
Yeah, he's more effective up. It's hard to tell whether this was a slider or a fastball. It looked like a fastball. Greg Olson telling us before the game that when Smoltz is down in the strike zone, and that was what was wrong with him early in the season, he was ineffective. Second half, he's been throwing high strikes.
Pitches to Merced, low. Merced hit the very first pitch of this game for a home run. And the only run that the Pirates have. They trail 5-1. Here's that home run that Merced hit in the first inning on the first pitch from John Smoltz.
And it's worthy to mention again that Smoltz had entered the game without allowing a home run in over 96 innings.
Craig, the umpire, tried to keep up with him and said running, but he couldn't. One out here in the third. Brian Hunter to the pitcher for the out. 8 in a row retired. That Hunter has done a good job around first base for the Braves.
He really has. We mentioned that he started 64 games this year. And we're talking to the coaches, Jim Beecham, who is one of the Atlanta coaches, also Pat Corrales, talking about Hunter's soft hands, and they're saying what a terrific outfielder he is, too. Little above average arm, but great instincts in the outfield.
Bell bats with the bases empty, 2 out, ball 1. Eight in a row by Smoltz. Out of play. Hunter wanted to, well, he did. He hopped into the stand.
Open the gates. Watch him climb the tarp. Can't go in there, Brian, unless you have a ticket.
That's as far as he was going to go. This fellow was listed as an outfielder on the Atlanta roster this spring. And a strike with 2 out. Bell has 3 hits in this series. That ball is fair, and Jay Bell's going to get 2. A 2-out double by Jay Bell. His second hit. Now the ball gets away, but he stays with 2 out. Doubles, doubles, doubles all over the place here this afternoon.
1 for the Pirates. And 4 for the Atlanta Braves. This is the 7th extra base hit between the two teams, and we're only in the 3rd inning. This one right inside the bag. Nothing you can do if you're a third baseman.
So Bell is perched at second, 4-man Slight. Smoltz, by the way, is very, very tough on right-handed hitters. So left-handed batters in the Pirate lineup are looked to produce some runs.
Yeah, all the right-handed hitters are saying, come on, guys, get this guy out of here. Right-handers batted only 182 against Smoltz this year. That was the lowest average that right-handed pitchers held hitters this year. 182 against John Smoltz.
So Bell interrupted his string. He had retired 8 in a row, and Jay got the double, and Van Slyke awaits the first pitch. Popped out his first time. And ball 1. How about those shadows, Tim? Do they bother the hitters?
Oh, yeah. I mean, hitters like, you know, that clear shot. They like a pitcher that's real true, and they've got neither. They've got shadows between the mound and home plate, and a pitcher that is tough. And on a hot streak. 12-2 in the second half.
Andy, 1-1. And Slyke homered in the first game. 1 of 2 hits he has. Balls and a strike. Smoltz wants a different baseball. Atlanta on top, 5-1 in the visitors' third. Jay Bell at second, 2 out.
Change up to Van Slyke, and Greg Olson telling us that if John Smoltz throws 2 changeups today in a 9-inning game, that would be a lot, so he's got 1 more coming.
Now time call asked for by the batter, given by the plate umpire Demuth. Slyke draws a walk. First of the game given to the Pirates. Puts 2 on, 2 out. And the number 4 hitter coming up.
Now, what have the big three done for the Pirates? They did not have good League Championship Series last year. Bobby Bonilla having a good series. We already mentioned Bond's frustration earlier, and since Game 1, Van Slyke has been controlled. Chance for the Pirates to put some runs on the board with their big gun up there, Bobby Bonilla.
They need a blast from Bonilla or a base hit and get Bonds up there. Bonilla flied out to very deep center his first time. Frank one to him. Smoltz allowed 16 home runs during the season. Most of those in the early part of the year.
It's not really a lot of home runs in this ballpark when you think about it.
2 on, 2 out. 1 strike.
Especially when you combine the style of pitcher that Smoltz is, a high fastball pitcher, and one of the leading home run parks in baseball. 16 home runs is not a lot of home runs to give up.
There are 2 on, 2 out. Smoltz gets a hit on the count, 1 and 2. Bonilla talking to the umpire.
That backdoor breaking ball, and watch Bonilla give up on it after the stride. So you think a ball like that's going to be outside, but it wasn't.
Now the crowd whoops it up. 2 balls, 2 strikes. The ever dangerous Barry Bonds would be next. 2 out. Jay Bell doubled. Van Slyke walked, and we'll watch it here on 2 and 2. There's Barry. Very reliant, spoiled a tough pitch. That's what you're talking about, Tim, with the pressure in this playoff. Here you're down 5-1. You get a shot to climb back in.
You don't get many chances.
That's the point.
Not against a pitcher of Smoltz's caliber and the good bullpens and deep bullpens of both clubs.
Pet pieces there. 2 on, 2 out. That ball is popped to Pendleton, and the inning is over. I think I heard the bat crack. No runs. 1 hit, 2 left, 3 left for the Pirates, who trail 5-1. We'll return to Atlanta's Fulton County Stadium after this message and an update from CBS News.
New York candidate for the Supreme Court, Clarence Thomas, is still testifying. Friendly Republican senators helping him undermine the testimony of his former aide, Professor Anita Hill. Democratic Senator Howard Metzenbaum defended his staff for bringing Anita Hill and her charges of sexual harassment to the Senate committee.
Sexual harassment is too important an issue to sweep under the rug.
Senator, it was not swept under the rug. This issue was investigated by the FBI, then leaked to the press. And I do not share your view that this was not concocted. This has caused me great pain and my family great pain. And God is my judge, not you, Senator Metzenbaum.
Senators Kennedy and Metzenbaum denied that they or any member of their staff were the source of a leak of the original Anita Hill charge. Dan Rather, CBS News, New York. Now back to Jack Buck and Tim McCarver.
We are back here, and David Justice hits the first pitch foul against the new Pittsburgh pitcher, Bill Landrum. A record of 4-4, 17 saves during the season, and we usually see him in the 8th or 9th inning, Tim.
But of course, that's the flexibility we were talking about. Atlanta had 5-1. The flexibility with both bullpens. The managers of both teams do not have a dominant closer, even though I guess Alejandro Pena would be the most dominant for the Atlanta Braves, but they didn't pick him up until late August. Landrum leads the Pirates in saves with 17, but I think one of the reasons that he's in there now in this position, he only has 2 saves since July the 1st.
In there for a while last year, and again this year he struggled with a bad knee. Justice looks at ball one. He drove in the tying run in the first with the 2-out double, following a double by Gant, and then another double, this one by Hunter, and the home run by Olson. Then another double in the second by Pendleton, and Atlanta leads it 5-1. 1 ball, 2 strikes. It will be Justice, Hunter, and Olson. We have a clean-shaven Bill Landrum today. He usually lets that stubble grow, doesn't he?
Nobody pays you to be cute.
Just get him out. And another foul by David Justice. This batter is one of the future stars in the National League. There is no doubt about it. There's Sid Bream on the dugout step. Jeff Treadway in your picture. Justice from Cincinnati, went to school in Covington, Kentucky, high school that is. In the middle of everything now. 2 balls, 2 strikes. What a swing he has, Tim.
Yes, he does. A classic swing. You know how football linemen, defensive linemen, just tee off on a quarterback when the quarterback and his team is way behind? Well, that's what the Atlanta Braves can do right now. They could be like defensive linemen and tee off on the Pirates' middle relief pitchers.
That's Greg Olson. He is waiting to bat in this inning. And the count goes full. 3-2. Yeah, you get them down. You got to kick them.
Yep. Got to try to put them away because the Pirates certainly a team that can come back.
Justice leading off, and Brian Hunter next, and then Olson, whom you saw a moment ago. 3-2. And ball 4. Let's go down to Andrea Joyce.
All right, Jack, I'm with Jack Llewellyn, the sports psychologist we told you about earlier, who's been working with John Smoltz. How does he look to you today?
I think he looks great. He started out and gave up a home run on the first pitch, but the key to our program has always been recovery. You know, if you give up a big hit, how fast do you recover? And he's obviously done that exceptionally well.
You just told me that he had a little touch of the flu yesterday. Do you think that the sore shoulder might have been related to that?
I think so. I think he's probably a little achy and sore this morning when he got up, and he came back to Pittsburgh.
Thanks very much. Let's go back upstairs.
Justice with a walk, and Hunter with the bat. And Landrum got it past him. That's the first walk given up by Pirate hurlers. Atlanta Braves set a new playoff record with those 4 extra base hits in an inning in the first. They were pounding the ball. Got another double in the second. Hunter has a quick 2 strikes. Hunter doubled into left, drove home a run in the opening frame. They've gone to all extremes to show their loyalty to the Braves.
Something written on his forehead, too. Got a pirate cap. Wasn't that a pirate cap he had on?
Tomahawk on the cheek and looked like a pirate cap.
Yeah, why would you have a pirate cap on? Maybe it's for both teams.
Justice draws the throw from Landrum, and we still have to deal with the shadows across this playing field here in Georgia. Probably even more difficult now than it was moments ago. Play by Hunter. Stays 0-2.
Usually the hitters will tell you how difficult it is to see. And the hitters appear to be, you know, taking their cuts and not deceived by that shadow. So it doesn't appear to be as tough as it would be normally for some reason. I mean, Justice on all of his pitches. Jay Bell with the double since the shadows have come out. But the 4 runs scored by Atlanta scored really before the shadows were a problem.
That one missed outside. 1-2. John Smiley, 2 innings, 5 runs, 5 hits. Struck out 2, walked none, and hit 1. Jimmy Williams getting the signs from the third base coach's box. And they start the serenade again. And down on strikes goes Hunter. Atlanta has walked 1 and fanned 1.
We mentioned Smoltz's best pitch was a high fastball. And that is Bill Landrum's best pitch. Of course, this ball out of the strike zone, but most swinging strikeouts are on balls out of the strike zone. Hitters are trained to hit balls in the strike zone, and usually when they swing and miss, or swing and foul tip it into the catcher's glove with 2 strikes, it's on a bad ball.
Greg Olson is up, 1 on, 1 out. Hit the 2-run homer in the first with 2 out. After hitting only 6 during the regular season. A pitch out. This batter Olson wants to get back to Minnesota.
From Edina, Minnesota. And he was telling us before the game, let's go Twins.
Olson told us he could stay at home and drive to the ballpark for the World Series if Minnesota beats Toronto.
Only 20 minutes from the Metrodome does he live.
1 ball, 1 strike. Here's a home run that Olson hit in the first.
Last time up, he almost hit one to Edina.
He's had a great couple of years.
After struggling a long time in the minor leagues, signed originally with the Mets, 7.5 years in the minor leagues, and signed as a minor league free agent.
In the All-Star game last year and the playoff this season.
What is a minor league free agent? Well, it's a minor leaguer that spends 6 years in the minor leagues, and he automatically becomes a free agent, so he is free to sign with any major league team, and that's what happened to Olson.
That's another way the game has changed in recent years. Mike LaValliere gives the sign. Landrum the pitcher. Runner going. Quick release and out at second base. That ball just stayed in LaValliere's glove for a blink. That's the second out of the inning.
Well, if you don't have a quick release, that's what happens to you. You get released quickly. This high fastball, and LaValliere, the ball hardly touches leather. Well, that's a fine throw by LaValliere, nailing Justice easily at second base.
And Bell says, you want to knock me down, I'll fall on top of you.
Like a rodeo out there around second.
Now the count, 2 balls and a strike to Greg Olson. He gets another hit. He has 4 hits in the series.
One more look at that throw by Mike LaValliere. Watch how quickly he gets rid of this ball. High throw, the transfer made from the glove to the hand very quickly, and Justice an easy out.
Now Olson runs the bases, and Mark Lemke, the switch hitter, is up. Popped out his first time into the first. Ball 1.
Bobby Cox talking about Mark Lemke and saying that he is a dirt player. That's really a compliment when you talk about a guy like that. Wouldn't be in too many other businesses, but it is in baseball.
He's one of the early arrivals at the ballpark every day. First baseman playing behind the runner Olson. Ball 2. Pat Corrales, the Atlanta coach, says, I can't hit Lemke enough ground balls. He said he kills me. There's Pat. He is coaching at first, former manager in the big leagues.
Philadelphia Phillies. Fired from the Phillies back in 1982 when they were in first place, and he went to the Cleveland Indians about a month later.
Fired when he was in first?
Yeah. Tough.
There goes the runner. And safe. Olson stole only one base this year. They played behind him, and he said, well, I'll go.
Why not? Another quick throw by LaValliere, a quick tag by Bell, but Olson surprising everybody. Yeah, he was out. It might have surprised second base umpire Bob Davidson. Watch the play. I think that first shot showed him tagged out before he reached second.
Much more so than the second shot. Now they're going to walk Lemke, finish off the walk. It's the second pass given by Landrum.
One more look at the tag. Look at the gloves that Olson has in his hands. There's the tag made right there. He's out by about 6 to 8 inches. But the reason that a base runner holds those two gloves in his hands is so he does not splay the fingers. When you extend the fingers, then you have a chance of having them stepped on. When you hold the gloves, you keep them in your fist. Chopping away here in Atlanta.
They want more runs, and they have an opportunity to get them with 2 on, 2 out. Belliard up. He lined out to second his first time. Facing Landrum for the first time. And ball 1. To Justice. He was out stealing. You see Olson carrying those gloves so he doesn't spread his fingers and break those fingers. Some players pick up a handful of dirt for the same reason. Foul ball by Belliard. 1-1.
Especially if you're going to go into a base head first, you want to keep the hands closed. And a good way to do that is to carry something in both hands.
And some runners take a fistful of dirt and they throw it in the infielder's face when they slide. Olson at second. And Lemke at first. With 2 out. Up the middle. Here comes a throw from Van Slyke. Save. No other play. 6-1. So the base running of Olson changed the inning.
That's right. They had to walk Lemke, and that set it up for Belliard. This is like a charitable parent. Everybody's contributing today. The Atlanta Braves. Van Slyke charging hard. The throw is to the first base side, and Olson scores without a play.
Van Slyke's such an exquisite outfielder. We all expected a better throw from him. Smoltz is up second and third with 2 out, and it's 6-1 here in the 3rd inning. Smoltz fanned his first. As a result of all that activity, Lemke ends up at third, and Belliard took second on the throw. Strike 2 on the foul. Ball whistled into the seats. Let's hope the customers are all able to avoid that one.
The fans well fortified here. They've got the tomahawks in the stands, so
they could fight
can't
back.
Be hurt. Right. Yeah.
They could fight back. 0-2. Atlanta scores 1. They leave 2. We've played 3, and the Braves are on top, 6-1. We'll return to Atlanta Fulton County Stadium after this message and a word from your local station. It's time for the Pirates to get busy. They trail by the score of 6-1. Assisting CBS Sports with its coverage of the National League Playoff Series, Airship Shamu, the goodwill ambassador for SeaWorld Parks. Shamu is 190 feet long, nearly 7 stories high, and getting some beautiful pictures on a sunny day here in Atlanta, Georgia. There's Lean, and there's LaValliere. And at the plate, it's Bonds. And a luxury for Smoltz. Tim leading 6-1, Bonds leading off.
Yeah, it doesn't matter when he hits when you have a 6-run lead, but that is the ideal time to, what you do, you splinter Bonilla and Bonds. That's what you want to do as a pitcher.
And the leadoff single by Barry, his second hit of the playoff.
And that's the reason. If you're playing against the Pittsburgh Pirates 2 or 3 times a game, the thing you want is to have Bonilla make the last out of the game and Bonds to lead off the inning. That way you splinter them and you don't give them a chance to get big hits. Bonds leading off the 4th inning with a single up the middle.
Smoltz trying to get ahead on the count with a 6-1 lead. A 5-run lead and a 6-1 lead. 6-1 and 5-run lead. Out of play by the batter Buechele, who lined out to center his first time, and he is 1 for 7. Who knows where he'll be playing next year. Pirates got him before September 1st, making him eligible for the playoffs. And no matter what the score, you have to pay attention to Bonds.
5 runs down, you just have to make sure if you're going to run if you're Barry Bonds. 43 stolen bases on the year.
And power pitch by Smoltz, strike 2.
It's funny when you compare the 2 ball clubs. Pirates faced with the possibility of losing Bonds after next year. They may lose Bonilla after this year. And you talked about Steve Buechele. They don't sign him, then they lose him. Jim Leland saying that they're going to make every effort to sign Steve Buechele.
The ball is popped up off the bat of Buechele into right for Justice for the first out in the 4th inning. Football tomorrow, and you'll see it on CBS. And it's going to be Smash Mouth football. And the story to be told by Bradshaw. Terry's going to tell you how he would change the rules. New Orleans plays at Philadelphia. New Orleans undefeated up against that tough Eagle defense. It starts at 12:30 Eastern with the NFL Today. The last word before kickoff. Also an update with regard to Joe Montana. What a shame he's gone down.
Yep, out for the year.
You're 0 for 1. Hit the ball hard into center. There's Bobby Bonilla. Where is he going to play in 1992? How much is he going to get? Ball 2 to the batter.
I mentioned to Bonilla on an interview before the ball game. I said, you know, we understand that the Pirates are going to make another offer to you. The offer that's on the table now, for the most part, $16.8 million over 4 years. He said, you know, I hear it on CBS that they're going to make an offer. I read the paper and the papers, and they say they're going to make an offer.
Bonds is running, and he's safe, despite the effort by Olson and Belliard.
And we said you have to be sure, and Barry Bonds was. But this is a very close play at second base. Watch where the throw is, and watch how Belliard hangs in there on the hard sliding Barry Bonds. High tag, it looked like. But look at that throw, a good short hop. Good play by Belliard. He was safe.
Down at second base with 1 out. And count 3-1 to Belliard.
Bonds with his 3rd stolen base. That short hop takes him up, or the glove up, after Belliard caught the ball, and that was a fine play, but he was unable to tag Bonds. 3rd stolen base of the series for Barry.
The score is 6-1 here in the 4th inning. Pittsburgh batting. Olson tried to pull that one into the strike zone, but that's the 2nd walk given up by Smoltz. Andy Van Slyke joined on the step.
So I guess to wrap it up about Bonilla, he said he's been reading about it. He hears it on CBS. But Larry Dowdy, the general manager of the Pirates, Doug Danforth, the chairman of the board, says that, or Bobby says that they have not made an offer that is any better than the offer that he's already turned down. If he does sign with another club, one would think that it would be a bonanza.
Now Pittsburgh has 2 men on, as they did in the 3rd inning. They've left 3. And they have 2 on, 1 out, and Lean, the batter. He banned his first time. Ball 1 to the number 8 hitter. So here's a chance for Pittsburgh to crawl back into this game. Strike. And the middle infielders of Atlanta are concerned with keeping Bonds close at second.
You just want to get 1 out in this situation. You have a 5-run lead. I think Ron Gant's too deep in center, and the same for Dave Justice in right field. Lean, with only 3 home runs this year, has no power the other way.
Badly there, 1 ball, 2 strikes.
So therefore, if he hits it the other way, he's more inclined to drop it in front of Gant or Justice than to drive it over their heads.
Schultz is fanned 2, walked 2, and allowed 4 hits. And they are paying a lot of attention to Bonds.
Bonds just giving Smoltz something to think about. If you're a pitcher, you have to concentrate on the hitter with a 5-run lead.
And that is a hit for Lean and a run, perhaps. It will be for Pittsburgh, making it 6-2. So the stolen base by Bonds pays off. And an RBI by Lean. And a pinch hitter coming up for Pittsburgh.
Fine hitting by Jose Lean on the slider low and away. And he just serves it over the head of Baylor. Even with the Pilots trailing by 5 runs, Barry Bonds still very much a catalyst for this club as Lean gets his 2nd hit of the series.
That changes the scoreboard, makes it 6-2 in a free-swinging affair down here. Runners at 1st and 2nd with 1 out. Down at 2nd base is LaValliere. And Lean with the RBIs at 1st. The pinch hitter is going to be the left-handed batter, Gary Varsho, former Cub player. He'll bat for Landrum. He pitched 1 inning, gave 1 run, 2 hits, struck out 2, walked 2, 1 intentionally, and the lefty Bob Patterson will be the new hurler for the Pirates. Pittsburgh can make it even closer here as Varsho is up. Had 4 home runs this year. And he had a pinch hit home run. In the next inning, Bob Patterson will be the 3rd hurler of the day for the Bucks. Varsho hits a foul, strike 2. And Atlanta warms up. Merced, the left-hander, and Clancy, the right-hander. Or Merker, rather than Merced. Merker. Kenton Merker warming up, along with Jim Clancy. And Leland making moves, keeping the lineup cards straight. 2 on, 1 out. And that's out of play off the bat of Gary Varsho. And Bobby Cox keeping a close eye on his starter, John Smoltz.
Everybody here in Atlanta just marveling over the performance, and I guess everybody nationally, the performance by young Steve Avery on Thursday night. The 2nd youngest starter to ever win a game in league championship play.
1-2. It's becoming a little better now for the hitters, with the pitcher also in the shadow. Marshall wants to do some damage here. And another foul. He hasn't had a real good cut yet at Smoltz.
Steve Avery, there he is. 8 1/3 innings on Thursday night. Talking to Dave Pursley, the trainer. Avery would be able to pitch on Tuesday night in Pittsburgh if it gets that far. What a remarkable performance by that young man the other night.
Our viewers should know how the baseball players, managers, and coaches talked about him. Marshall hits it foul, breaks the bat.
Same tones, that's right. Marveling.
Yeah, they thought it was an exquisite performance. Marker, the left-hander, Clancy, right-hander, in case Smoltz can't get the Pirates out here in the 4th inning.
The only pitcher younger, by the way, than Steve Avery to win a league championship game as a starter, Fernando Valenzuela, back in 1981. As you look at Barry Bonds, who has broken out of his really a 2-year slump. I don't know if he's broken out of it, but last year 3 for 18, and this year he is 2 for 8 in league championship play. But the other night, squandering a couple of chances to help his club.
And his base hit at the start of the 4th inning and stolen base has helped Pittsburgh get a run. Half swing. Bruce Fleming said he didn't go around. 2-2.
Didn't appear that Barstow went around. No, he held up. That wasn't really even close. No.
LeValliere down at second. And leaned at first. And a good low pitch gets Barstow for the second out of the inning.
Again, Greg Olson telling us for the strikeout pitch that Smoltz will go to the curveball, and that's what he gets Barstow on there. He uses his slider to the right-handers and throws his curve to the left-handers. And there it is once again out of the strike zone.
Oh, it's up to the leadoff hitter, Orlando Merced. He started this game hitting a home run on the first pitch, and he's 1 for 2. Ball 1. Pittsburgh has already left 3. They have 2 on, 2 out. Ball 2. Mike LeValliere, who walked, is at second, and leaned, who drove in a run with a base hit, is at first. This batter, Merced, very good friends with the Roberto Clemente family. In fact, he lived right across the street from Roberto.
Used to dream of playing in a Pittsburgh Pirate uniform as idol, the great one, Roberto Clemente.
On 2-0, he hits it foul. Out of play.
Used to talk about going down in the basement of the Clemente home and looking at all the pictures. And gosh, there must have been a ton of pictures down there. Clemente with 3,000 hits. He got the 3,000th on his last day against John Matlack. Certainly one of the idols of Orlando Merced. He's from Puerto Rico.
And he'd like to thrill the folks back home in Pittsburgh and Puerto Rico with a hit here. The count goes to 3-1. And it certainly is a struggling inning for Smoltz. 2 hits and a walk, 2 out. Breaking pitch, and it's 3-2.
I'll tell you, that's respect right there. I mean, if you could throw a 3-1 breaking ball with 2 outs and a 4-run lead in that situation, it's a lot of respect and outstanding execution by Smoltz.
Now Merced doesn't know what he's going to get. The runners will go with 2 out on a 3-2 pitch. And they got him on a fly ball if the sun doesn't bother Ron Gant. Pittsburgh has left 5, and they trail by the score of 6-2.
Is sponsored by Budweiser.
Orlando Merced hit the very first pitch for a home run, but the Braves came back with 4 runs in the first, and Pendleton and Belliard drove in runs 5 and 6. We're at Fulton County Stadium in Atlanta, Georgia. Capacity crowd, of course. They might set a record here today. There's our line score. 6-2 Braves lead, bottom of the 4th. Chop Shop is what they call this stadium now. And the Braves have not only the baseball fans turned out, but the entire city. A new pitcher for the Pittsburgh Pirates. It's going to be their second left-hander of the day, Bob Patterson. 4-3 with 2 saves this year.
Some of the Pirates from the area. Bob Patterson from Greenville, South Carolina, a couple hundred miles from here. And Bill Landrum, the pitcher whom he's replacing, is from Columbia, South Carolina. Several of the Pirates from the Atlanta area.
Bonnie Smith is first up. He has struck out, been hit by a pitch, stole a base, and scored a run. And he is seeking his first hit in this series. He's 0 for 8. That little kid doesn't care what the score is. And it is 6-2. Ball 2. Bonnie is the only player who has played in all 3 of these games who doesn't have a hit. Big cut, 2-1. Hit by a pitch the last time. He still stands very close to the plate. Folks from Knoxville here. Pitch from Patterson makes it 2-2. Lonnie leading off here in the 4th. Got him. Well, Patterson's first contribution is a strikeout.
We told you the other night what the H on the Pirate uniform stood for. Well, the JWM on the left sleeve of the Braves uniform stands for John W. Mullen, who passed away last fall. John, formerly the general manager of the Braves, and the general manager now of the Braves, John Sherholtz. John, formerly with the Kansas City Royals. And what a terrific job he has done here in Atlanta.
He pulled the right strings. The batter Pendleton. 1. Florida State won again. They're number 1, and they won their game today. And Miami over Penn State. Miami, Florida is number 2. Michigan handled Michigan State handled it. So they started the chop that these Braves fans use now down in Florida State. And it has spread. The ball to the strike to Pendleton, and finally got his first hit in the series. He is 1 for 9. And that was an RBI double in the second. In the hole on a base hit. Base hits in every inning for Atlanta. And they've scored in the first 3 innings.
4 in the first and single runs in the second and third, and this one's skipping by. Steve Buechele. Second hit for Pendleton. He doubled in a run in the second, and now with 1 out, pops one by Steve Buechele.
Even though we have a grass field here, it's a very fast playing field.
You know, we were talking to Bobby Cox before the game, and Bobby Cox telling us that the infield here, even though it's a grass infield, as you can see, is faster than the turf in Pittsburgh. You and I found that hard to believe, but Bobby says it's so, it's so.
Foul ball now by Gant. Yeah, he said the ball kind of hydroplanes here off this very fast infield. He'd like more runs, 1 on, 1 out. Jim Williams, the coach at third. And has had 3 out of 9. from Patterson. 1-1. Merced holding against Pendleton. Strike two, a foul tip, 1-2.
Funny how far pitchers can be off the mark. Mike LaVallia wanting the fastball away then. He gave the pinky sign to Bob Patterson, and Bob throwing the fastball. It just sailed over the inside part of the plate. He only missed by about 2 feet with that pitch. Just points out that pitchers just simply don't get it where they want to all the time.
There are more signs here than there are in an astrology book. Everybody's doing it. They're signaling each other. And that's strike 3 and the second strikeout for Patterson. At the conclusion of today's game, Tim McCarver and I will select the Chevrolet Most Valuable Player of the game. Chevrolet will then donate $1,000 on the player's behalf to the Special Olympics. Now is David Justice. He double home a run in the first that tied the game. Walked, was out stealing in the third. His double was against Smiley and went to the opposite field in the first inning. Patterson delivers ball 1. Patterson, Landrum, and Smiley have been the Pittsburgh hurlers. With Hunter holding against Pendleton, there's some hitting room down there that you can see. Right, Patterson's trying to shut down the Braves for the first time. 4 in the first, 1 in the second, 1 in the third. 1 on, 2 out here in the fourth. And they start the chant again. 2 strikes.
Slider outside, fooling David Justice. Hey, you think of the history of the Braves past. They have had a migratory history, starting in Boston, moving from Boston to Milwaukee in 1953, and then from Milwaukee to Atlanta in 1966.
We saw one of their storied players here earlier today, Phil Niekro.
Phil Niekro bouncing around the stadium with his brother Joe. Matter of fact, a statue of Phil Niekro and one of 4 Braves players with their numbers retired. Eddie Matthews, Hank Aaron, and Warren Spahn, the other 3.
They'd give you a good laugh. There's another strikeout. Patterson struck out the side. The Braves have left 4. We've played 4. And it's 6-2, Atlanta.
They better bang the drum slowly.
Yeah. Thank you, Andrea. I wish our hotel were closer to the ballpark so we could hear that at night. They're going to keep it going round the clock. Smoltz throws a strike to the leadoff hitter, Jay Bell. Bell has 2 hits today after previously going 1 for 18 against Smoltz. Now the crowd starts the wave. They compound that with the chop.
Yeah, you don't want to do that with people chopping. If you wave, you stand up, and people are chopping over. That's a bad combination. People wave, they stand up, and they chop, they go down. And it's not a good combo there.
That's 2 balls and a strike to Jay Bell leading off. Pittsburgh has left 5, so they could be closer. Two to the Pirate shortstop. Smoltz has struck out 3, walked 2, and allowed 5 hits. Another strikeout. It's the 4th of the game for Smoltz. We're at Fulton County Stadium here in the capital of Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia, and our line score. Orlando Merced hit the very first pitch for a home run. And then RBI double by Justice tied the game. Hunter put them ahead. Olson popped a 2-run homer. Pendleton drove in a run, and so did Belliard. And Pittsburgh came back with a run in the 4th. Now they're batting in the 5th with Van Slyke up there. Lean had the RBI to make the current score 6-2. Van Slyke has popped out and walked. Strike. How are the big 3 doing thus far? For the entire series, including this 3rd game. 4 hits for Bonilla, 2 for Van Slyke, 2 for Bonds. And 1 now for Van Slyke. That's his 3rd of the series, a 1-out single. I don't think Bobby Cox is totally pleased with the way Smoltz is pitching. Do you, Tim?
Well, and, you know, you go back to the first inning, and you think about him rubbing his shoulder, and you wonder if he is 100%. Fastball to Van Slyke is ripped to right field. The Braves having some good cuts against John Smoltz, but you really wonder if that shoulder is healthy or not. Matter of fact, the Atlanta Braves, with 141 starts this year out of 4 pitchers. Tommy Glavine complained about fatigue the other day. John Smoltz rubbing his shoulder. You don't see 4 men in any one staff with that many starts. 141 divided among 4.
Bonilla with that last swing was trying to cut the lead in half. 1 on, 1 out. Now Bobby's in the hole 0-2. And a big strikeout, number 5 for Smoltz. Bonilla's 0 for 3.
Sometimes if a pitcher doesn't have the good pop on the fastball, you go to the curve. And that appears to be the case with Smoltz here in the middle innings. His curveball has been very effective, even though the fastball hasn't been.
Bonilla 0 for 3 and 4 out of 10. And here's Barry Bonds, 1 for 2 and 2 for 8. And they got him on the fly ball to Justice. Now Pittsburgh has left 6. And they trail by the score of 6-2.
Has to be concerned with his big 3. We looked at them the last inning. And Barry Bonds 1 for 3 today. He has scored a run, but on the curveball to end the 5th inning, you can see his mounting frustration. We showed you his frustration at the beginning of the game and in the middle of the game.
This game will get you if you get into a slump at the wrong time. We are into the bottom of the 5th inning, and Hunter leads it off. Bob Patterson still on the hill, and he gets a strike in there. Smiley pitched only 2 innings. Landrum 1. Shot into right field, may not be caught, and it is a terrific play by Bonilla. A sliding catch, and for all the world, it looked like a hit.
What makes this play particularly difficult is when a right-handed hitter hits the ball the other way, it slices away from the outfielder. So Bonilla with the slide to catch the slicing liner. Almost uproots a 1/4 acre out in right field.
Well, they didn't do that on the golf green.
That's replace your divots, right?
It was a heck of a play, and now a strike to Olson, who has a 2-run homer and an RBI single in this game. And he has had 4 out of 10. He is emerging as the hitting star. Bounces 1 to short. And Bell gets him for the 2nd out. We showed you some of the Jim Leland story on the pregame show with Pat O'Brien.
Come over and take a look at him.
Patrick James Leland.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, we're going to do our best. Can you hold it just a second so Milt May can take a peek at it? That's great. Yeah. Okay, thanks a lot. And remember, congratulations to everybody.
Yeah, Jim said, and there's his wife, Katie, and the baby.
And you can tell that Patrick James may be growing up and being a shortstop or a second baseman. That's open mouth. That means you cover. I guess in his case, it means you put the covers on me. We've shown you that open mouth, closed mouth for second baseman, shortstop. So Patrick James Leland may be a middle infielder. His dad was a catcher.
Jim Leland said he came out screaming, I guess he's going to be a manager. The batter is Lemke with 2 out. And a line drive that's caught by Buechele, and that takes care of 5 innings down here in Georgia, with the Braves on top 6-2. We'll return.
Has spent the entire day counterattacking and flatly denying all accusations of sexual harassment by his former aide, Professor Anita Hill. Thomas continued his attack on the confirmation process, saying he expected awful treatment and even expected attempts on his life. He continues to not withdraw.
I'd rather die than withdraw. If they're going to kill me, they're going to kill me.
So you'd still like to serve on the Supreme Court?
I'd rather die than withdraw from the process.
The Senate hearings continue. We will continue to monitor and update you as events warrant. Dan Rather, CBS News, New York. Now back to Tim McCarver and Jack Buck. And
thank you, Dan. We're into the 6th inning, and Steve Buechele is leading off against John Smoltz. They're all the way for Atlanta. There's the line score, and the Pirates are trying to overcome that the Braves posted. Accounts 2-2. That ball is fair, a fair ball, and an apparent double for Buechele. Bruce Fremming with a little call, and the Braves are arguing about the play. Bruce Fremming chases Smoltz away, and we'll see what comes of all this. There's also talking with the umpire, Dana Demuth.
All it has to do is go over the bag. Get it go over the bag. It hits in front of the bag on the line. That's a fair ball.
And a good by Spring.
Absolute ball. Looks like it went over the corner of the bag. It doesn't matter where it hits once it goes past the bag. Looked like that ball may have hit the bag, as a matter of fact.
Leadoff hit by Buechele. And ball 1 to Mike LeVallier.
Here's one more look at it. Chalk goes past, and Bruce didn't hesitate. Good call.
Pittsburgh has stranded a half dozen runners. They've been on base in every inning except one. LeVallier has a walk in this game, 0 for 1, and the count is 2-1.
Let's take a higher look at the ball hit by Steve Buechele. Focus your attention right in front of the third base, about 6 inches. It hits the chalk and appears to go over the corner of the bag. It did not touch the bag, however.
LeVallier hits it high in the air to left. The shortstop wants it. Now the left fielder, Lonnie Smith, chases him away and makes the catch. That's the first out of the inning, and the Pirates are having trouble putting hits together. Runner at second base and 1 out. It is Lean. He singled a run in the 4th, 2 for 8 in the series. And he could the Pirate cause. They played Lean as an opposite field hitter. And there's Del. 1 ball, 1 strike. Third base has been an interesting spot in the playoff series. There is a foul ball by Lean, and it's 1-2.
It continues to be an interesting position. On Thursday night, the only run scored in the game with David Justice in the 6th inning. Ground ball to Buechele. That's call. So that was in the 6th inning.
Strikeout of Lean rolling away from Smoltz, his 6th strikeout. So a leadoff double, but now there are 2 out, and Pittsburgh is squandering some chances. The pitcher is due up. Patterson is going to be lifted. He did good work. He pitched 2, spent and hit. Struck out 3, and he walked none. And the pinch hitter is Curtis Wilkerson. He final up 2 nights ago in Pittsburgh. This fellow's a switch hitter and batting in the 6th inning for the Pirates. A nice run for Pittsburgh to pick up. Second, 2 out, and a chance for the second baseman, Lemke. That's their Pittsburgh in the 6th. We'll return to Atlanta Fulton County Stadium after this message and a word from your local station. Well, here's another look at the stadium from up above from Air Shamu. 194-foot-long blimp, painted like America's favorite whale. This is the Orlando-based airship Shamu of the U.S. Lovely day to be looking on down at this scene. Bob Kipper, the new pitcher, bottom of the 6th. Belliard, ball 1. 6-2 score. Atlanta 4 in the 1st, and they haven't been caught. This is Bob Kipper, the 4th Pirate hurler of the day. 2 saves his record this year. Belliard is lined out to second and had an RBI single in the 3rd.
Belliard, a free agent in the infield. So 3/4 of the infield for the Braves, free agents. Pendleton, Sid Bream, and Belliard, even though Brian Hunter's starting at first today.
Count goes to 1 ball strikes. It'll be Belliard and then Smoke and then Lonnie Smith.
Remember when free agency came in back in 1976, everybody said, well, the wealthy teams will be the teams to win everything because they would sign the free agents. And initially that happened. The Yankees won it in 77, 78.
Belliard, an easy out on a ball in the dirt. Let's go to Andrea Joyce, and she has a Hall of Famer with her.
All right, that's right, Jack. And the home run king. I finally made it up to the good seats. I'm up here with Hank Aaron. You survived some long, lean years with this club. This has got to be a great thrill for you.
It certainly is. I think that the most rewarding thing now is that all of these young kids are beginning to pay some dividends. You know, I look at the Gladden, I look at the Smoke, I look at Justice and Gant and people, you know, they're now beginning to feel like they too can win in the big leagues.
Now, I'm just curious, though, were you a little bit concerned when you heard that the bat off your statue had been knocked off during the celebration? I think it got a little out of hand, don't you think?
Well, I don't know. You know, in celebration, I hope that's what it's all about. You know, and we did find the bat, and they're going to be restored. That's the most important thing, that the fans had a lot of fun, and everything's all right now, you know.
How about the memory?
Well, I look at the sign, and I guess that's the only thing I can remember about it.
You know, folks say that this is the most excitement in Atlanta since you did check that record.
Well, I'm glad we're having some fun memories, you know, because as I said before, it's been a long time coming, and I think this ball club deserves everything that is given today. You know, they played very well so far, and I see nothing but just great things happen for this club.
Okay, thanks very much. Let's go back to Jack and Tim.
Hammer and Hank. Henry Aaron visiting with Andrea Joyce. That was an exciting time when he broke Babe Ruth's record right here in this park.
715 Al Downing, April 8th, 1974. And the catch in the bullpen made by Tom House, who was deposed as the pitching coach of the Texas Rangers this year.
And it was our friend Milo Hamilton with the call that evening, and Pedro Ramirez was the Latin broadcaster called it here. That was an exciting night. That was great that it happened in front of the hometown fans. Schmaltz has been up there for a while with a count of 1-2. 1 out as he faces Bob Kipper. Bottom of the 6th, 6-2 Atlanta. And the crowd loves that.
Schmaltz only had 7 hits all year. He hits this off the bat. Jay Bell goes to his right, then he stops. That ball had a little screwball spin on it. Look at Bell. He goes to his right. Now has to come back to his left. Just eluding the outstretched glove of Jay Bell.
And a hit for Atlanta. They had gone down in order of 5th. They now have 9 base knocks. And the top of the order is represented by Lonnie Smith. He struck out twice. Pitched, stole a base, scored a run, and has no hits. In the series, he is 0 for 10. And they start the chant again here in the park. For 9 is the call on Lonnie Smith. Count 1-1. Give the third base coach. Schmaltz running the bases at first. They play behind him. Ball 2. Kipper is the 4th Pirate hurler. That happens when your starter only goes 2.
3 pinch hitters you pitching spot for it's today.
Can burn you at any moment. It's a pop fly to Bell. Schmaltz gets back, 2 out. Now front. We have a fine pregame show coming away at 8 o'clock Eastern, and then the Twins will play at Toronto. Baseball 91 continues, and 8 o'clock is the time. The pitchers are Jack Morgan, Stottlemyre. A couple of big winners. Morris gets his 2nd start. Minnesota won the game last night in extra innings, and they lead 2-1. Dick Stockton and Jim Cotta there for CBS to tell you the story along this Visser. Leslie there in Skydor. How many people do you think will be there, Tim?
It'll be packed. 4 million this year. Read the other day, the Blue Jays generated $60 million.
The pitcher is stealing. Save.
This is the second Moakley steal of 2nd in this ballgame. Greg Olson was the first one. Schmaltz.
Did all he could, but Schmaltz got too big a jump. Now Pendleton up there has an easier job.
Now Jose Rio broke an ankle earlier in the year. You take more of a chance winning like that. Of course, John Schmaltz a competitor, but I'm sure Leo Mazzoni, the pitching coach, has to cringe when he sees him run down there like that.
He was holding his breath. Pendleton laid off the pitch. Set around. He held up at 3-1. 3-1. You think Schmaltz did that on his own?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the guy playing behind him. I don't think Bobby Cox would have sank. May have, but I don't think he would have. I don't think you take that chance.
3-1 to Pendleton. Powell makes it 3-2. This is what these 3 have done. Pendleton, 2 hits and an RBI and a hit. Scored a run. Justice a run batted in. And in the series, 2 for 10, 3 for 10, 4 for 9. They're perking along pretty good. Pendleton didn't get a hit until today. He could add to the 6-2 Atlanta lead here in the 6th inning. And they got him. Well, he was a little too frisky on the bases. He stole 1, but they picked him off, and the inning is over. Now we have plates, and the Braves lead it 6-2.
John Smoltz, an outstanding pitcher, but he had to have seen what happened to Doug Drabek the other night running the bases, pulling a muscle. After stealing second, diving back into second as Jose Lean is covering. Watch Smoltz as he jumps right there, that right foot going toward third, and he couldn't get back in time, and Lean makes a rather easy play out of it.
So Smoltz took a little time going to the mound. After stealing a base, he was picked off. A new left fielder replacing Lonnie Smith is Keith Mitchell, so Lonnie Smith will have to wait another day to get his first hit. Keith Mitchell in left. Pittsburgh has squandered some chances. They have left 7. They wasted a leadoff double in the 6th. And they have the top of the order here in the 7th with Orlando Merced. Pretty picture of this stadium here in Atlanta. Merced 1 for 3. Hit the very first pitch from this pitcher for a home run. Ball 1 from Smoltz. He has struck out 6, walked 2. 1 ball, 1 strike. Top of the order, Merced, Bell, and Van Slyke. And a strike. Gary Rita started the first 2 games for the Pirates at first. Now with the right-hander pitching, it's Merced. Count is even, 2-2. Not many squawks with Dana DeMuth working behind the plate. Leading off, he gets taken down by the breaking ball. 7 strikeouts for Smoltz.
One of the magic moments in National League Championship play occurred back in 1985. The Dodgers up by a run with Jack Clark at the plate, and here's what happened.
Here's his pitch to Jack Clark. Swinging a long one into left field. Adios, goodbye, and maybe that's the winner. A 3-run homer by Clark. Still see Pedro Guerrero playing left field, slamming his glove to the grass. Tom Lasorda is our pregame visitor, our guest. He'll be on hand tonight, helping Pat O'Brien talk about the American League playoff game at Toronto this evening. Well hit ball by Bell. Back at the track of the wall, and it is a home run for Jay Bell. He makes it a 6-3 game. Second home run hit by the Pirates this afternoon.
Maybe it's the power of suggestion. Right off the Jack Clark home run comes the live shot 6 years later.
And here comes Bobby Cox. He has a pitcher ready in the bullpen.
The funny thing, when Jack Clark hit the home run in 1985, Andy Van Slyke was on deck. When Jay Bell hits the home run today, 6 years later, who's on deck? Andy Van Slyke. So he's gone from the Cardinals to the Pirates in 6 years, 2 National League Series contenders.
And the Braves are going to lift John Smoltz.
CBS Sports coverage of Game 3 of the 1991 National League Championship Series is brought to you by Lexus and the new ES300 Sports Sedan. Power Stick Antiperspirant, the power that puts you in control. And by United Airlines. Come fly the airline that spans more than half the world.
These fans gave a big hand to John Smoltz as he left after pitching 6 1/3. And Mike Stanton takes over with 1 out here in the 7th inning. These Braves don't have this game put away yet. They lead 6-3. Now it'll be Van Slyke and Bonilla. Ball 1. Andy has a walk and a single. He has had 3 hits in the playoffs. Here's John Smoltz. He can only be a winner. He can't lose. Clarence Jones, the hitting coach, seated next to him. And now ball 2. And of course you have this parade of pitchers coming in from the bullpen. And you just hope that your new hurler has good stuff. Stanton behind on the count. Throws a strike. Merced struck out. Jay Bell hit the home run. His 3rd hit of the day, by the way. A single, a double, and a homer. Now Van Slyke. And it's 3-1. His fans groan a little bit. Looks getting a little weary with a chop. Ball 4 puts Van Slyke on base with 1 out.
This is what chased John Smoltz, the home run by Bell, a high fastball.
Sounded good, didn't it?
Well, you know what sounds good when you hit a home run? No sound. You hit the ball hard, there's less sound. When you hit it bad, there's more sound. So when you say sounded good, what you mean is you can hear that crisp sound of a home run. That little.
However it sounded, it looked good, and that made the score 6-3. 1 on, 1 out for Bonilla, a wild pitch. No play, and Slyke is there handily despite the rebound. So Stanton adds to the excitement of this affair. Leadoff walk, then a wild pitch.
The wildness by Mike Stanton. And Van Slyke was going to lope to second base, but he ended up running hard because he saw the carom come back to Greg Olson.
And barring the line drive double play, that assures the fact that Barry Bonds will bat in this inning. Ball 1 to Bonilla. He hits the ball to first, and Hunter stays with it. The runner stays at second because he didn't know whether the ball was going to be caught in the air. That's the 2nd out of the inning. Van Slyke shrugging his shoulders, say, what am I going to do? I didn't know if he's going to trap it or catch it. But in any event, they got Bonilla, who's 0 for 4.
Sometimes you can't see depth perception when you're at second base. This ball cued off the end of the bat. And Brian Hunter making sure of 1. But Van Slyke, because the ball was hit close to Hunter, elects to stay at second base.
So once again, who's on the spot? Barry Bonds with 2 out. First pitch, ball 1. Bonds 1 for 3, a stolen base, and a run scored.
If you're thinking home run against Stanton, left-handers hit 1 home run against Mike this year in 103 at-bats.
They play Bonds to pull. He looks at his strike. Bonds has power to all fields, and that's important in this park where the ball really flies. 6-3 here in the top of the 7th in favor of the Braves. The ball goes foul, and it's 1-2. Is 2 out of 9 in postseason play this year. Runner at second, 2 out. And it stays 1-2. Took over for the starter John Smoltz in this inning. Gave a walk through a wild pitch, got Bonilla, and duels Barry Bonds. ball to Hunter. 1 run, 1 left. Pittsburgh has left 8. And it's the middle of the 7th inning. The score here, the home club, Atlanta 6 and Pittsburgh 3. Bottom of the 7th inning here in Georgia. 6-3, the Braves on top. And the fans all sang "Take Me Out" to the ball game in the middle of the 7th. There's Ted Turner and Jane Fonda. Former President Carter and his wife Rosamond alongside. And the first pitch is ball 1 as Pendleton leads it off. He's had a single and a double today. Driven in a run. This is the 2nd inning of work for the Pirate hurler. Their 4th pitcher of the day, Bob Kippert. Smiley, Landrum, Patterson, Kippert. Pendleton fouls it away. 1 ball, 1 strike. Atlanta scored 4 in the 1st, 1 in the 2nd, 1 in the 3rd. None since then. Through the eyes of Shamu, a look at Fulton County Stadium. Pendleton hits it to Bouchette. 1 out in the home 7th. Tomorrow, the NFL Today. At 12:30 in the games, New Orleans undefeated against the tough Philadelphia defense. Phoenix at Minnesota, and the Falcons are playing at San Francisco. And Terry Bradshaw is going to tell you how he would change the rules to make the game more fun. It begins at 12:30 Eastern tomorrow. NFL Today on CBS. Up at the plate is Gant. Ball 1.
And once again, the Atlanta Braves have their 2 sports star, Deion Sanders, who plays baseball and football, and we have our 2 sports star, Pat O'Brien. Pre-game show again this evening with Tommy Lasorda, and then he'll be on the NFL Today tomorrow. What an athlete that Pat O'Brien.
Well, he can do it all.
Do it all.
And he's being helped today in the studio by Tom Lasorda.
Tommy Lasorda's troops ending up 1 game behind the Atlanta Braves. And I think when you think about the Braves season, they will look back on that last road trip where they went to Houston and Cincinnati. They won 6 in a row and then came back and won 2 in a row on Friday night, Saturday afternoon, and it was John Smoltz who pitched the clincher last Saturday against Houston. We talked earlier about Ron Gant and how much of a pull hitter he is. He doubled a right center his first time up. And look at that, 100 hits to the outfield to right, 7 to left, 17 to center, and 9 to right field. That's a pull hitter right there.
No home runs in this series, and a high fly ball into left. Now he's got one, and it's 7-3.
Pulled it with some authority.
It's the 4th home run of the day down here in Georgia.
Must be nice to be able to hit a ball like that. Then just take a couple of steps toward first. Enjoy it a little while.
I never saw you stand at home plate like that.
No, didn't do it too many times.
You hit a lot of home runs, but you never stood there at home plate. Look at the Tomahawks go. This is David Justice batting. He has walked. He has doubled, driven in a run, scored a run. Batting with 1 out and a run home. 7. Sorry, folks, I didn't mean to interrupt you. 7-3 in favor of Atlanta. I wonder if I can get a recording of that and take it home and play it during the week.
Can you imagine somebody just trying to learn the game of baseball from another country and tuning in now?
If I could remember the words, I'd join in the singing.
We talked about open mouth, closed mouth earlier. Even Rosalind Carter knows the song, right? There it is. she and Jimmy can't get together. That's a little bad coordination on the part of the former president and his wife. I think they got it down now, though. They got the flow.
2 balls, 2 strikes to count on Justice. Justice pops it up. That should be the 2nd out with BUECHELE. The leader of the singers here is Andrea Joyce.
All right, Jack, thanks very much. I'm down here with the host for this big party, Ted Turner and Jane Fonda, and my day has been made. I've been hit in the head with a tomahawk by Jane Fonda. Ted, you've been involved in so many exciting events in your life. Where does this rank?
Way up there. Way up there. I've had the team, I think, for 17 years, and we've never won a playoff game, only been in the playoffs once, so, you know, it's very, very exciting.
It's clear that this goes way beyond the stadium. I mean, every place you go in Atlanta, people are talking about the Braves. What has it done for the city?
Well, it's got the spirits up. You know, we've had so many good things happen here. Went and getting the Olympics in a few years, and it's a clean, nice city, but it's been called Losersville with good reason, because it's never won nobody's ever won a championship in professional sports here.
Jane, we've gotten some tips from a lot of folks on the proper technique for the chop. Do you want to throw in your 2 cents? It looks like you're double-fisted.
Yeah, this is my newly invented special, the double tomahawk chop.
It's a little dangerous, though, for people behind you. Let's go back upstairs to Jack.
Chop, chop, chop.
I wonder if Jane's next workout tape will include that.
2 balls and a strike. Meanwhile, to the batter, Brian Hunter. He drove in a run in the 1st, then he struck out and lined out to right field. And strike, making it 2-2. All 4 cities are really involved. Pittsburgh setting a new single-game attendance record. The Yankees up in Minneapolis, Twin Cities, and the action by the fans in Toronto, where they drew more than 4 million people. And this scene in Atlanta. Low from Kipper to the batter, and he held up the swing.
And baseball up 3.5% in attendance this year.
2 out here. A run home by virtue of the home run from Gant. 7-3, 7th inning. And Hunter pops this one foul, and we'll have time for more chanting. Atlanta had scored only 2 runs in the first 2 games, yet they had split the 2 games played. They're off and running with the bats now. 7 today, only 2 in the first 2 games. They're 2 out. Hunter shoots one into short left field, and Bonds drifts to it. That takes care of 7 innings here at Fulton County Stadium. 1 run, 1 hit. And a 7-3 Atlanta lead after 7.
Is sponsored by AT&T.
Well, in the first 7 innings, we've seen this. The Braves getting 4 in the first with 4 extra base hits. John Smoltz stands to be the winner if the bullpen can hold him. We've had 10 extra base hits in this game, including this 2-out, 2-run homer by Greg Olson in the first inning. That made it 4-1. And Ron Gant's first home run here in the playoffs just a moment ago in the 7th. And Pittsburgh has home runs from Merced and Jay Bell. First up for the Pirates in the 8th. Against Mike Stanton is Steve Buechele. He's lined out to center, fly to right, and doubled. That was a wasted leadoff double in the 6th inning. And Pittsburgh has left 8 men on in this game. Pirates have 7 hits. And Buechele gets his second of the day.
Mike Stanton, a rookie this year, 74 appearances, 4 shy of the National League record held by Tim Burke back in 1985. He's from Houston. That's the rookie record, I should say. He's from Houston, went to high school in Midland, and went to junior college in Alvin, Texas. As Bobby Cox is going to the right-hander, and everybody knows who's from Alvin, Texas. Nolan Ryan.
Nolan Ryan. The new pitcher will be the right-hander, Mark Wohlers.
Don Slaught has been announced as the pinch hitter, and that's why Bobby Cox made the move. So that means only Lloyd McClendon and Gary Reedus are the only 2 left on the Pirate bench.
And Slaught pinch hitting, swings on the first one and gets a base hit. That's his first of the playoff as Mark Wohlers is greeted in rude fashion. And the batter is going to be Jose Lean, and this will either make this 7-3 game even more exciting or add to the frustration for Pittsburgh. They have stranded 8 thus far.
Well, I'll tell you what could add to some frustration. If you remember, the Pittsburgh Pirates take 11 pitchers on their roster. Now, on deck is Lloyd McClendon. So that means Gary Reedus would be the only able-bodied regular to play a position or to pinch hit. So if the Pirates do happen to tie it, of course, Jim Leyland would love to have that problem. Well, he may run out of players. Jim's saying that he realizes that taking 11 pitchers is, you're taking a risk, but he's willing to do it in a short series.
Well, they got behind early in this game, 4-1. 5-1 and 6-1. This is a young pitcher who can throw really hard.
Yeah, the Atlanta Braves, on the other hand, with only 10 pitchers, and of course, Wohlers one of them.
Count 0-2 to lead. Foul tip, and he stays alive.
Greg Olson almost holding on. Comes up and pops him in the mask, and then trickles between his legs. Stunned a bit.
Wohlers, the 3rd hurler of the day for the Braves. Pumps a fastball by him for the first out here in the 8th inning. That's a total of 8 Pirates who have struck out today.
Well, we saw 21-year-old Steve Avery the other night, and today we have a look at the 21-year-old Mark Wohlers. And can he ever blow? Woo.
2 innings pitched by Bob Kipper. He allowed 1 run on 2 hits. Had a strikeout and walked none. 2 on, 1 out, and the batter is McClendon. Lloyd pinch hitting for Kipper. Ball 1. We're in the 8th inning. Getting late in this game. Look what he did against Atlanta this year. Batted .480. But this is the playoff, and what'll he do? 2 balls, no strikes. Not much left on the bench for Jim Leyland, the Pirate manager. Down at second base is Buechele. And over at first base, Don Slaught. 2 balls and a strike. 7-3 the score.
A little surprised that Bobby Cox doesn't have a left-hander warming up in the bullpen. You have Merced on deck, and even though he's a switch hitter, he's predominantly a left-handed hitter.
Rollers misses with another one.
Example, the only guy warming up for the Braves, Alejandro Pena. But if Bobby Cox were to bring in a guy like Merker, for instance, and Jim Leland would have to go to Gary Reedus, and he's the last guy they've got on the bench.
2 on, 1 out. And ball 4, and they're loaded up, and the tying run will come to the plate. That's the 4th walk given by Atlanta pitching today.
You know, the other side of the coin, Jack, is I saw Kent Merker warming up before the game for about 10 or 15 minutes in the bullpen. Now, usually that says that he's not going to be in the game that day. So Merker was warming up, but that takes a big left-hander out of the bullpen, and I think Bobby Cox is forced to bring in the right-hander, Alejandro Pena, and make a double switch.
He's going to send in a new first baseman and apparently bring in Pena. What did he tell us? That Pena pitched 2 innings 3 times this year. So Sid Green takes over at first base, and he will bat in the number 9 spot.
Yeah, that was for the Braves. That was with Bobby Cox. But with the Mets, Pena worked more than 2 innings a lot.
Back to work here in the top of the 8th inning. And the Pittsburgh Pirates have the bases loaded with Buechele at third base. At second base, Don Slaught, who got the pinch hit, and another pinch hitter, McClendon, at first. He walked. The only player left on the bench for the Pirates, other than pitchers, is Gary Reedus. The new pitcher is Alejandro Pena. He ended the second game and saved it for Steve Agri. And he has 12 out of 12 save opportunities for Atlanta this year. Base and loaded, 1 out, and the top of the order is up. Merced hit the first pitch of the game for a home run. A comparable blow would tie it here. And he is 1 for 4 on the day and in the series. Pena from the Dominican Republic against Merced, who's from Puerto Rico. Braves hope for the double play. Merced has other ideas. Ball 1 from Pena.
And on radio, the Latin American broadcast going as far south as Ecuador this afternoon, servicing 30 million people.
What will Merced do here in the top of the 8th? Base hit loaded, 1 out. Tying run at the plate. Out of play, and it's 1-1. Roger Mason will be the new pitcher for the Pirates in the bottom of the 8th, but the drama is here. Hamilton off the line at third. The new first baseman is Sid Green. He's playing rather well off the line.
Yeah, you're trying to get out of the inning. You're not worried about guarding the line in a situation like this. You want the double play, but you'll take 1.
Base hit loaded, 1 out. Ball 2, 2-1. And they play Merced as a pull hitter. They give him the left field line. Of course, Bonds can cover that territory well. And they give him left center, and that goes for Van Slyke, too. He can move. Or, excuse me, the left fielder Mitchell and the center fielder Kent. They sit loaded here, and now 3-1, and the crowd didn't like that call. And no place to put this batter. Base hit loaded, 1 out. 3-1 to Merced. Tying run at the plate here in the 8th. And he popped it up foul, and there is a play for Olsen. 2 out.
Well, it could have been ball 4. I don't know. It was a borderline pitch. Merced sitting on the fastball. for Pena and the Braves.
Oh, I'll say. Of course, sitting on the fastball and hitting the fastball, two different things,
That's
right?
really true.
You're right, it was borderline up. Now the batter is Jay Bell. He's had a single, a double, and a home run, plus 2 other hits in the series. Base hit loaded, 2 out. And ball 1 to him. Last time up in the 7th inning, Bell smashed one over the boards. During the season, he hit 16 home runs. A 3-base hit would give him the cycle and make it a 1-run game.
And Bell's going to get a fastball here. Pena quoted after game 2 saying all he throws is a fastball in these situations.
There it is, but it's off the plate and it's ball 2.
We're taking a look again at the 3-1 pitch to Orlando Merced. Borderline pitch in this day and age.
That ball is taking off. You can see Olson's glove going up. It might have been ball 4.
Maybe.
Now Bell's ahead on the count, 2-0. Still play him a little to the right. They don't play him as a pull hitter. Base hit loaded, 2 out. Ball 3. Now the umpire said he went around, and it's 2-1.
Now Bell glaring at first base umpire Eric Gregg. He went too far. Good call by Gregg. That's too far. You hate to have a check swing on a 2-0 count. 0-2, it's different. 2-0. It's tough. Now it's 2-1.
Now it's 2-2. Fastball up.
Jay's looking back at that check swing on the 2-0 count. And another high fastball to Bell.
Pittsburgh has left 8. They have the bases loaded, 2 out. Bell has a 2-2 count as Jim Leland paces in the dugout. 3rd game of the series. They're tied 1 game apiece. Got him! And it's still a 7-3 lead for Atlanta. Pittsburgh has left 11.
Still 7-3 Atlanta, and this is why. Bases loaded, 2 balls and no strikes to count to Jay Bell. Strike 1 is inside on the check swing. Strike 2, the high fastball. And strike 3, the only strike in 5 pitches to Jay in that sequence. And look how happy Pena is.
A little glove slapping to show the elation as it remains 7-3 Atlanta. And that takes us into the bottom of the 8th inning. We have a new pitcher, a new catcher, and a new first baseman for the Pirates. And that Pirate fan is disgusted. Pittsburgh has stranded 11. Rosario Rodriguez is the pitcher. 1-1, 6 saves. Don Slott is behind the plate. And Lloyd McClendon, who pinch hit, is over at first. So Gary Reedus remains on the bench for the Pirates. And Rodriguez pitches to Olson. Gregg hit a 2-out, 2-run homer in the first. Single stole a base and scored in the 3rd. He's 2 for 3. And he's 5 out of 11. He's trying to pump another out of the park. 1 ball, 1 strike. You like this left-handed pitcher, don't you, Tim?
We talked to Jim Leland before the series, and he was telling us something very interesting.
Ball 2 to Olson.
We asked him if he needed a left-hander to get 1 left-handed hitter out in this series, who would he bring in? And he said Rosario Rodriguez would be his man. Of course, this is a 7-3 game with a depleted bullpen, and he has to go to Rodriguez here, but this young man, we talked about Wohlers 21, Avery 21. That's the age of Rodriguez, 21 years old from Mexico.
The count 3-1 to the Atlanta leadoff hitter in the bottom of the 8th. And a walk to Olson. He's on base for the 3rd time today.
We talk about a double switch so many times. Well, exactly what does that mean? Now, this is the original lineup before Pena came into the game. Wohlers was the pitcher. Hunter was at first base. When Pena came into the game, Pena's inserted into the 5-hole, and Sid Bream would be the 4th hitter in this inning, unless the first 3 hitters make an out. And with the leadoff batter up, they need a double play now at least.
Mark Lemke, the batter. Ball 1 to him. He's 0 for 2 with an intentional walk. And they might hit and run. Might even bunt to try to get the extra run. We're in the home half of the 8th, and it's 7-3 Atlanta.
Yeah, the bunt wouldn't be a surprise now since Bream is batting 9th.
Ball 2 goes low in the strike zone. He eludes Rosario.
Well, that's the other thing that Jim Leland said about Rodriguez. He said the only thing I worry about him is whether he can throw strikes or not.
And there's nothing doing in the Pirate bullpen. Smiley, Landrum, Patterson, Kipper, and now Rodriguez. That is a foul ball.
Ryan Sandberg of the Chicago Cubs led all second basemen in the National League with 101 RBIs. But look at this surprise. The second basemen, primarily Jeff Treadway and Mark Lemke, were second in RBIs. And that's almost 80 RBIs for 2 guys who have pretty good gloves.
That's good production from the second base position. Leadoff man is on, and a throw to try to get Olson, who stole a base earlier when the first baseman was playing behind him. Who's going to be ahead 2-1 when this is over? There's ball 3. 3-1. Olson leading off. He might be running. Not going. Ball 4. Well, up in Toronto, Canada, they're getting ready for their 4th game of the playoff. There's a live shot as the Blue Jays take the batting practice. Stottlemyre is going to be pitching against Jack Morris. And we'll have that for you starting at 8 tonight on CBS.
I guess the big question in that game, will the Blue Jays start that game with Joe Carter or not?
That's the big question. He's their big RBI man. Their big slugger. Those are the 2 hurlers for tonight. And Dick Stockton and Jim Cott standing by to bring it to you this evening on CBS. And we have a night game here tomorrow. They have a day game up in Toronto. 2 on and nobody out. Belliard bunts. It's a perfect bunt. 1 out. Second baseman took the throw. And here is Bream batting in the number 9 spot. Remember we told you about the double switch. That's why they were bunting.
You have an unusual matchup, a good bunt by Belliard. The one thing that just pops out at you about when you think about Belliard is he does all of the routine things very well. Baseball being a routine game, obviously that's one of the reasons the Braves signed him. Not a flashy guy. A good bunt there to bunt the runners over, and see if Rodriguez goes right after Sid Bream. Ray Miller, the pitching coach, out to talk to Rosario.
President Carter joining in.
Yeah, they're better. President Carter and his wife are better, but they still can't get together. Now, see that going that back and forth there. They got to do it together. Ted and Jane and Mr. and Mrs. Carter have to do that a little better. They got to work on that.
Picked up the tempo here. That chop's a little harder, a little faster. Sid Bream for his first at-bat in this game in the infield end. Second and third and one out. And Rosario gets ahead. Strike one. Keith Mitchell will be the next batter. And here's the big man, Bream, as they pitch to him, and there it goes. That makes it 10-3. Sid, how could you do that against your former team? You can see the knee brace on his right knee as Sid rounds the bases. Now a strike to Keith Mitchell, who's up for the first time this afternoon. And it's a 10-3 Atlanta lead. It's their third home run of this game. And it is the 11th extra base hit in this game, and that ties the National League Championship Series record, 11 extra base hits. Mitchell looks at a strike, and it's 1-1.
Looks like that double switch worked for Bobby Cox, huh?
He pulled a lot of the right strings. How about bringing Pena in when he did?
Yep. To face Orlando Merced. The home of the Braves.
Going too. Mark Grant, who is inactive for this series, leading the cheerleading. A fly ball to center by Mitchell, and that is the second out. Taken down by Van Swyk, 2 out. Pretty picture, isn't it, folks? Piloting an airship Shamu today, Mike Fitzpatrick and Roy Bellotti. Cameraman George Schaffner is at the video controls. Schaffner. George has the camera up there. Shamu from SeaWorld in Orlando. Pendleton, 2 out. Bell. Off the base and safe. Ball came up on Bell a little bit and threw him off stride.
Yeah, it threw him off stride, but this is a routine error by Jay Bell because he had a lot of time to take his little crow hop, gather his composure, and throw out Pendleton. The ball, however, does take a little bit of a bad hop on the back end. There it is right there. I guess he had to rush his throw a little bit, but he had more time than he thought.
Pendleton runs the bases with 2 out. Jay Bell commits the second Pittsburgh error of the day. But it's been the 11 Atlanta hits that have made the difference. And jammed himself somehow in that last pitch. The crowd is chanting Ronnie. Strike 2. Gant has a single and a home run in this contest. Excuse me, a double and a home run. And he started the 4-run rally in the first. He went a double by Gant, a double by Justice, 2 base hit by Hunter, and a home run by Olsen. Did he go around? Plate umpire called him out, and the inning is over. But Atlanta gets 3 runs on only 1 hit. They leave 1. They've left only 5. There's the 3-run homer by Sid Bream. They're going into the ninth. It's 10-3 Atlanta.
This is Dan Rather with the CBS News Update. Supreme Court nominee Clarence Thomas says he would rather die than withdraw. He has ended his day at the Senate hearing on sexual harassment charges. Thomas's principal accuser, Anita Hill, today again offered to take a lie detector test, but she is not expected to be given another chance to testify before Monday at the earliest. Thomas blasted some of his questioners today and continued to damn the process. Committee Chairman Senator Joe Biden counseled perspective.
Judge, wait till it's over. It will be over in the next 2 days to make your judgment. You will not be unaffected by this no matter what happens. Nobody goes through the white-hot glare of this process at any level for any reason and comes out unaffected.
Next up, corroborating witnesses for both Thomas and Hill. I'm Dan Rather. Now back to the game.
Alejandro Pena working the ninth, and Andy Van Slyke leading it off for Pittsburgh. They're down by 7. They have 10 hits, as you see. They've left 11. They've been given 4 walks, but they've left them on, and Atlanta has not. Atlanta has stranded only 5. Andy has 2 walks today, plus a hit. Pena came in with a bases loaded and 1 out in the 8th inning. He got Merced and he got Bell. That's going to be foul and out of play. This copyrighted telecast, presented by authority of Major League Baseball, may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form without the express written consent of Major League Baseball. Well, Dan Rather is a good baseball fan, so he didn't mind hanging around the studio today. I hope. Even though it's Saturday afternoon.
I'll say he's a baseball fan. Goes a ways back.
High in the air to left. Mitchell coming in, wants it. 1 out.
In 1962, Dan Rather was hired as the public address announcer for the Houston Colt 45s by Bill Giles, who was then the business manager of the Colt 45s, and now Bill is the owner, majority owner, certainly part owner of the Philadelphia Phillies. Dan Rather made $10 a night as the PA announcer in 1962, Colt 45 Stadium in Houston.
With all the mosquitoes down there.
He's gotten a raise since then.
Ball 1 to the batter, Bobby Bonilla, who is 0 for 4 today. Outfield playing Bonilla to pull. He'd just like to get on base, get something started. The count's 1-1. 3 in a row retired by Pena in relief. Our pitchers tomorrow are Randy Tomlin and Charlie Liebrandt for game 4. 2 balls and a strike. Action this evening in Toronto. The Twins have the edge, 2-1. Tommy Lasorda joins Pat O'Brien on the pregame show tonight at 8 Eastern Time. And the Jays are pretty much under the gun in that one. Pena would get a save if he finishes this game, and with the help of Lemke, looks like he's going to. 2 out. 4 in a row retired by Pena. He's becoming a big factor in this one, Jim.
I'll say he's been a big factor in just about every game he's been in this year. 11 for 11 in save opportunities. 2-0 was his record, and he could about on his way to save his 2nd straight game here in the playoffs.
They're going to have to re-sign him to keep him.
Yeah.
And they have Berenguer, who might be back. Last hope for Pittsburgh is Barry Bonds, 1 for 4. And 2 out of 10. And a 10-3 Atlanta lead. Olson. Tomlin and Liebrandt tomorrow. 2 left-handers. There's Doug Drabek, and we wonder if he's going to take his regular turn. It's still iffy with regard to him pitching the game on Monday. If not, it would be Bob Walk for Pittsburgh. 2 out. And Bonds hits it high in the air and back to the track. Justice is there and has it, and it's a 10-3 Atlanta victory. And they lead 2 games to 1. Pittsburgh left too many men on base. It's some scene down here in Atlanta. 10-3, the Braves win.